Future Market has thousands of board games at discounted prices. Click the direct link below to see all of those discounted games. Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we're going to be building our own dungeon, chamber by chamber, room by room, all the way down to 4 levels. We're going to be putting in different elements like traps and certain monsters and trying to make paths from entrance to the exits. Today we take a look at Stonespine Architects. This is from Thunderworks Games. It is a role-player tale, so it's set in that universe that they have created, and this is actually designed by the same person that did Cartographers. So let's take a look. I'll show you how it's played. I'll see you on the other side. In Stonespine Architects, you're going to have a hand of cards, and you're going to be drafting cards. You're going to be building these as chambers in your dungeon. They're going to give you gold. They're going to be paths you're going to be trying to connect to. You're going to have different things like monsters and elements and traps and things like that you're going to be placing in there. Now, over the course of the game, you're building this 4x4 grid of these cards and making the chambers of the dungeon. So at the end of the game, your dungeon might look something like this. And as you draft cards, you'll be placing them first in any of the empty spots on the top level, and then after each round, you're going to be going down and down and down the depth, so that it is going to be a 4x4 grid, always building one level at a time, but you have the flexibility as to which empty spot to put it in. Now, one of the ways to score in the game is a blueprint card you get at the beginning of the game. Everyone has a different one, and for each level, it has certain things that you're trying to do. Like this upper left one, it wants a treasure chest. This one needs to be sort of a cave. Some of them I need, ooze and things like that. Sometimes I need some points there, and it shows us where we start, where we end. But the more of these that we fulfill, the more points we'll get. So that's one of the main ways to score is the blueprints. Now at the end of each of the rounds, after you draft 4 cards, you're going to add up the gold from those cards, plus 1 gold for every treasure chest in your entire dungeon, and you'll be spending that gold. So if I had 16 gold, the one who has the most can decide to spend them at the market to get certain things like some monsters or some slime or some traps or some treasure chests and all different things, and those are the costs, and then they would spend that gold, and then the next person down could spend. But if you're done spending, or for strategic reasons, you might pass. And that gives you first choice at one of these challenge cards. There'll be a certain amount depending on the amount of players. And here, you're just going to give you basically your own private goal. For example, gain 3 reputation for each unique trap in your dungeon. Or 3 reputation for each pair of gnolls. Or gaining 2 reputation for each ooze on a single path in your dungeon. Or 3 reputation for each cobalt in a single column. So all these different goals are coming out throughout the game. And sometimes you're strategically passing to get the one that you really want. There's also one main goal that people are fighting over, like having the most goblins, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd points at the end of the game. So all these goals, these are getting refreshed each round. This one is the same one the whole game. So the next round you're building down, covering the gold from last time, making these paths sort of connect. And again, at the end you're going to get gold plus any treasure chests on everything. So treasure chest is sort of an engine building of cash every round. You can also maybe get items like a secret door there. So now this card is connected to this card, which now, if you think, connects back to my entrance, which is going to be important because at the end of the game, each card that connects back to your entrance is a point, and each card that gets to your exit is going to be a point, and those are actually shown on your blueprints, remember, at the beginning and the exit, so you kind of know where you're trying to start from and you know where you're going to end. If you get everything there, well, it's going to be a lot of points, but 1 point if it goes to either of those 2 if it goes to both. Now remember, you're drafting these cards one at a time, picking a card, placing it, passing the cards, and so on and so forth. It is card drafting, how you get these and place these, and again, once you've done the 4 rounds, which is putting 4 cards out, then the game is going to end, and you'll score all the things that I mentioned, like connecting things to the entrance and the exit, which again is determined by your specific blueprint card. You're going to be getting all sorts of different points for all different items and traps, depending on the challenge cards that you had gotten over the game, and from your blueprints, and the main goal for the game. Also, the first one to pass is going to be priority order. They're going to get points as well. And you'll also be getting some reputation, sometimes gaining, sometimes losing in certain rooms in your dungeon, whereas the most points at the end is the winner. All right, there is Stonespine Architects. Now, what did I like about it? Well, first of all, again, this is part of that role-player universe, role-player tale universe that Thunderworks Games has built. The art style and everything sort of, it just fits into that mold. It's a consistent sort of product line of games. And again, this is designed by the same person that did Cartographers, and you can kind of feel a little bit of that in here. Things I like. Tableau building. I love to build tableaus, and in this case, you're doing it with so many different ways to score and so many different possibilities to think about. You've got your blueprint card, going to change every game, right? So you've got to put, it tells you where your entrance and your exit is, where you're trying to connect paths to. It's telling you where you need maybe traps or certain monsters or certain types of caves or, this and that. And it's giving you some requirements that, you're trying to do. Again, many things are tugging you for points in this game. You're not going to be able to do everything, so you're going to be trying to decide which one is the right thing to do based upon that and other goals that might be there. You've got the one game goal card that everyone is sort of fighting for. So you're looking at interaction between other players, maybe hate drafting with them, taking the card that might help them for that goal when you want it. But again, some interaction there. The gold, I like that you're getting gold from the cards that you're placing that round, but also treasure chests from all rounds, and I like that. So you can build like an income for this round and be able to buy a bunch of stuff because you can see what's in the market ahead of time, or you can be like, hey, I'm gonna try to get a bunch of these treasure chests so that over the course of the game, I'm gonna be getting more and more gold with that. I like that. When you're spending gold, it's really cool that you can decide to spend gold and get some of these tokens and elements and put them in your, so you might be drafting cards, you might not be getting the right cards. People are always like, it's a card game, it's random, you might not get what you need. Well, that's true, you might not, it might get drafted from you, but you can spend gold to get the things you need and put them where you need to be. So you have that flexibility, helps mitigate the luck of the draft. And helps mitigate draft hating if it happens to you, so I like that. The timing of passing with the gold is interesting. You might have something that you really want, but you might have a challenge card that you're really set up well for, right? And so you might forego and pass getting some elements that might help you with one gold card to get this challenge card that's going to make up those points already, and maybe you can add to that later. So the timing of the passing is one of the most interesting parts of this. I also like that if you have the most gold, you go first, and you might spend a smaller one, and you might still have the most gold and get to go again. So you might be like, oh, you know what? I'll buy this one and then that one. Or maybe I'll just buy one thing and hope that that other next player buys something, and then I'll pass. So there's a lot of a little bit of a head game there too. You're looking at what's out there, what they might need, things like that. I like that you're trying to connect the entrance and the exit with paths, and if you can connect both, each chamber to both of them, that's basically worth 2 points. So you're trying to do that. Again, a lot of things that are tugging for points that a lot of times, sometimes are at odds with each other. You're going to be making tough decisions the entire game. And the game feels like a full game, even though it's not very long, 30 to 45 minutes-ish. The drafting works well, even with 2 players. I love it when games have little things here, like in this version, you pick a card, you draft a card, you discard one, and then you add one to that pile. And I like that is a pretty known method to make 2-player drafting feel better than, it feels more similar to playing with more players, so I like that. You don't have to manage anything crazy for 2 players. And I like, in the final round, passing for priority. So again, you're trying to spend gold to get last-minute things to try to work on your challenge cards and work on the gold cards, but if you pass, you're going to get priority, and that's points too at the end of the game. So again, lots of goals at odds. You're always going to be making these tough decisions and trade-offs, calculating which is the best thing to do. I don't have a lot of negative things to say here. The only thing, a nitpick, is I'd say managing the priority doesn't take a lot of time, but it is procedural. You pass, and you're going to go to the priority, and then when you're buying gold, you push the priorities down, and then so you're getting priority, but the priority during the game, the only thing it does is it gives you a tiebreaker for gold. If you're tied with someone, you have more gold, you get to buy before them. It doesn't happen that often anyways, and it seems like an awful lot of sort of minutia during the game rounds in order just for that tiebreaker. And I get there needs to be a tiebreaker, but I like it the last round. The last round's like, the passing for that huge priority is huge because that's straight points at the end of the game. But managing that every other round just for a gold tiebreaker felt like the trade-off wasn't as good. It was almost too procedural than the value that gave for it. That's my only nitpick for the game overall. I think if you like Thunderworks Games' style of art, and if you liked Cartographers, even though this feels very different, you're thinking the same things kind of through. But if you like those games, I think this is going to be one that you're also going to like, Stonespine Architects.
Game Toppers upgrades every game you play, and if you missed their 4.0 Kickstarter, you can still late pledge and take advantage of over 40 unlocked stretch goals and early fulfillment. This campaign featured a new Young Sherlock table perfect for children's gaming and movable coffee table, 10 new thematic mats by top artists like Vincent Dutray, a new designer art series Minecraft topper with thematic art from Brent Woodside, and some of the best package deals they've had, including game mat bundles. Go to GameToppersLLC.com or click the link below to late pledge now.